The majestic and amazing European Alps are a sight to see. What's not to love about this stunning region of the world, with its gleaming white peaks, bustling ski resorts, and small and endearing alpine towns? Nevertheless, the Alps can be a really strange, and occasionally creepy, place beneath the charm and fondue. There is more to the Alps than just hiking, skiing, and natural beauty. There are oddball festivals, eerie ghost and folk tales, and terrifying tourist attractions. The peculiarities are so fascinating that they just keep coming. Consequently, what are the top 10 wackiest things to encounter in the Alps, and where can you find them? Let's get started and learn more. Number 10. Into the void you step. One of the most recent and terrifying tourist attractions in the Alps may be right for you if you're a bit of an adrenaline junkie and don't mind heights. Step into the Void, which has a menacing name to begin with, is a viewing platform on the summit of Aiguille du Midi, which is close to the incredibly popular ski resort of Chamonix in the French Alps. At 12,650 feet 3.85 kilometers above sea level, it is said to be Europe's highest tourist destination. Step cautiously onto the transparent platform as you take in the miles of empty space below you. It's well worth the trip, providing breathtaking views of the Bossons Glacier and some of the highest peaks in the entire Western Alps. That is, if you can maintain your nerve long enough to keep your eyes open. Number 9. White Lady. Every distant area appears to have a ghost story that has become a legend, and we all love a good ghost story. The White Lady tale originates in the Alps, close to the Italian town of Duino. Now, this narrative shares many similarities with the Rapunzel fable, but with a much more terrible ending. A jealous knight locks a lovely woman and her infant in a tower. He locks them in every time he departs so that none other may see her beauty. When the husband comes one day in an especially foul temper, he tosses his wife from the tower. It's said that God preserved her by turning her into a white statue, making her everlasting, as opposed to allowing her to fall into the sea below and perish. The White Lady is rumored to occasionally be seen prowling the neighborhood looking for her kid, who was abandoned, according to the neighbors. Sad and slightly spooky. Number 8. Battles of the Rain, Valais. There are thriving villages that live in the Alps, each with their own customs and festivals, apart from the folklore and the astounding heights of the mountains. The Combats de Rain is one such celebration held in the Swiss resort town of Valais. This is a competition that takes place all year long in cow fighting. You did read that correctly. Farmers competing for bragging rights, the chance to compete in the finals, and a lot of money are all involved in the annual event hosted in Martigny's Roman amphitheater. You really have to see it to believe it. The event takes place outside of the popular ski season, from March to October. Number 7. Scholnen Gorges Devil's Bridge. Returning to the world of mysteries, we are traveling to Switzerland, specifically to the Devil's Bridge in the canton of Uri in the Alps. This bridge is situated above Scholnen Gorge, and it has a very unsettling backstory. Long ago, the area's inhabitants had to cross the crucial St. Gothard Pass, which was on the other side of the gorge. They were having trouble finding a solution to this enormous task. So, naturally, they asked the devil for assistance. The soul of the first animal to use the new bridge was the devil's price. To mislead the devil, the cunning townspeople chose to send a goat over the bridge first. Naturally enraged, the devil raised a rock to topple the bridge, but for some reason he stopped. A woman ran and erected a crucifix on the bridge during the break, driving the devil from the area. The devil's rock is still visible close to the bridge. Number 6. Alps in Austria, Krampuslaufen. You may be familiar with the Krampus, the evil alpine version of Santa Claus, but did you know that there is an entire festival dedicated to him in the Austrian Alps? This brings us full circle to the strange festivals with a supernatural twist. Every year on December 5th, the Krampus Run, or Krampuslaufen, is a night of mayhem with locals flocking to the streets while wearing grotesque masks and horns. The purpose is to terrify every child into acting morally upright throughout the year. Definitely a more severe interpretation of Santa Claus's nice or naughty list. It's a jolly and spooky event that resembles Halloween more than Christmas yet incorporates the greatest elements of both. Number 5. Dark Snow. Why the Alps may be turning crimson due to climate change. Snowblood France 24 English. Even while it seems like a myth or a supernatural occurrence, the reality behind the rise in blood snow in the Alps is even more horrifying. It is a product of local climate change, and if you are unaware of it, it may be a very frightening sight. It basically has to do with a particular kind of microscopic algae that exists and develops in the alpine snow. Chlorophyll gives it its characteristic green color, but when solar radiation is excessive, the chlorophyll underneath is shielded by a red pigmented shell. The snow appears blood red as a result. The long-term problem with this is that it darkens vast areas of the snow, absorbing more heat instead of reflecting it back as white snow often does. This promotes climate change by raising global temperatures, melting snow and ice, and other effects. Absolutely terrifying. Number 4. The Valgerina fairies. The Swiss Alps are renowned for their spectacular scenery, but according to the fairies of Valgerina folklore, the most stunning, verdant, and green valley is no longer with us because of the foolishness of one specific man. It all began with an elderly guy who would carry a bucket of milk up a mountain every day. The following day, it would be empty after he had left it up there. No justification. His kid Pietro eventually developed a curiosity. Once reaching the top, nothing happened as he followed his father. They were shocked to learn that their prize goat had passed away when they got back to their residence. At this moment, the father was compelled to explain to his son that he fed the fairies so they would protect him. This was the cost because Pietro was watching and they were unable to consume alcohol. After several years, Pietro ran across a girl and handed her a lovely stone. She adored it so much that Pietro sought the help of the fairies to obtain more of it. He proceeded to their cave and read out a blood spell based on the legend. Pietro was unpopular with the fairies, which led to the cave's collapse and the loss of the entire picturesque valley. So, was it ever there? Travel to Switzerland. Number 3. Festival of the Cow, Alp. It should not be surprising that cows are huge business because the Alps are well recognized for their dairy products. You can take part in or watch a genuinely bizarre event involving cow excrement if you travel to the small community of Alp in Swiss Valais, which is the same location as the cow combat festivals. With 17,000 cow patties, the 500-person population fertilizes the higher pastures that are sometimes overlooked by natural means. Everyone participates in this odd celebration by getting their hands dirty and improving the environment. Number 2. The Italian Alps water maidens. Greek mythologies. The nymphs, the pretty and young minor deities. Mythological dictionary. A number of stunning alpine lakes can be seen if you travel to the Italian Alps. The myth of the water maidens, nymphs who assume the appearance of stunning women, originates close to Valsicina. A local farmer discovered a young nymph stealing cheese from his basement after hearing a disturbance one evening. He made a pledge to keep her actual nature a secret after being seduced by her attractiveness. He finally wed her, and the two of them had a child. After a while, the husband became upset and began complaining to his friends about his wife's nymph-like behavior. She cursed her husband and son, claiming that any offspring they had would be born with hooves and would never get married out of rage that her promise had been breached. After the son wed and learned that his wife was pregnant, he decided to leap off a cliff to break the curse. Residents claim that you can still hear him sobbing. Number 1. Garmisch-Partenkirchen, Hohenschlittenrennen. Who doesn't enjoy watching grown adults ride a little sled down a snowy mountain? On January 6, the German Alps host this challenge.